Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. This is another one of our live streams that we do every single week, and honestly, this is one of my favorite things that I do. I create a lot of videos, but I absolutely love these live streams, and we are going to mix up our format tonight just a little bit. We're going to try to get you guys involved in how we're going to do this. You're going to make some decisions that will impact people. You'll be making those decisions during this live show. Before we get started with like our adjusted agenda, I want to say hello to some comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the live stream. First up, the thing's all jacked up, the screen here. There we go, much better. DLE Comics is in the house shouting, Regie, with the correct spelling. Brother, I am a fan of that. Thank you. Perry Comics was here. Perry Comics, Vika, Closet Geek, and Rush Die Hard are all more East Coast based. These guys came in, said a quick hello, and then they had to dip to actually get some rest before Monday. So I definitely respect that. I think Perry Comics said he had to watch a movie with the old lady. Haven't heard that term in a while, but it is a classic that I actually love. So it was definitely nice of those guys to swing by the chat for just a couple of moments before getting on to some of the other things that they had to do. Who else is here? Luke, the friendly neighborhood Luke is in the house, brother. It is good to see you. Ryder V3 is in the house. Jester Rican Rod was here, and shout out to Rod. We're going to talk a little bit about him in a couple of moments here. Who else was here? Ian or Ian? I'm not quite sure of the pronunciation, brother. It is good to see you. And you asked a very good question that we are hopefully going to get to in just a couple of moments. K Barton 33 is here. Brian Bigelow is here. Mr. Comics 89 is here. Mark Trippy, I think that's how you say it. Trippy is here. Russ C is in the house. Maddie Joe is here. Hack X is here as well. Chris Barrett is always in the house, brother. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. Same with Johnny Future. It's good to see you. Comic Ace. I'm not sure that I've seen that name before. Comic Ace, it is good to have you on the live stream. Lon Espinosa is here. Tina, my good friend Tina is here. So is Clay 3613. It is definitely good to see all of you guys here in the live stream. I absolutely appreciate you guys hanging out with me just a little bit this Sunday night. So you guys know, well, let me back up. If you haven't, if you are in this chat, if you are watching this back on replay and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so because we have a lot of fun on the channel. We put out some good content, typically Monday through Friday at 3:30, and then we have a couple of live shows, but we put out some good content. And if you don't want to miss it, if you want to be part of like all the videos, all of the giveaways and all that kind of stuff, you definitely want to hit that subscription button. And you also want to turn on notifications so that you can stay abreast of all the content that gets released on a weekly basis. Huge shout out to Chaotic Kindness, who was the inspiration behind a recent video that I released. And if you haven't seen that video, everything 9.8 in white pages. If you haven't checked out that video, I definitely encourage you to check out that video because I think it's a really good one. And okay, Mark Tripp, there we go. He says it is Trip, but with an extra P, and I am Regie without the extra G. So there you go. I definitely respect that. DS Comics is in the house. How you doing, brother? Brett Hess Art is in the house. It's good to see you. Thierry is here as well. Brother, it is always good to see you guys. Some awesome guys that are joining me here in the chat, and I definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with me. So, I've had a very busy weekend. I've had a very busy weekend. I've been out there hunting in Oakland. I went to a con earlier today, and I was on a live stream on Saturday. And I'm typically not doing anything on Saturday except for family stuff. But I did a live stream. And I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. But my point is it's been very busy, very hectic, and I'm a little behind. And so one of the things that I decided to do for this live stream, instead of doing my normal news thing, right, what I want to do is actually do a Q&A with you guys. I want to take a little bit of time to actually hear some of your questions and be able to respond to some of your questions. And I think 3 or 4 people have already asked questions here, not really knowing that I was going to do a Q&A maybe, but we are going to actually do a Q&A, and then we are going to get into our drawing and all that good stuff. And then we're going to, of course, do our normal announcements and stuff like that. But I thought a Q&A might be a nice thing to do, a little bit of a change of pace, and actually lightens my load just a little bit, because honestly, I didn't have, when I do the Sunday show, it takes me, at least a good hour to compile all the names first thing in the morning. Then it takes me another hour or two to put together like the show content and to check my facts and all that kind of stuff. And I honestly just didn't have the time to do all of that today. And so I thought a Q&A would be a good way to go. Also, because people have actually asked for it. They've actually asked me to do a Q&A. So I want to take the time to do it because I think that it'll be fun. So, what are your questions? And while you guys think of your questions, if you can type them into all caps, that would help me tremendously to be able to see them. But one thing I will mention is, if you haven't yet had a chance to head over to Just a Reekin's page, guy by the name of Rod, he goes by Just a Reekin and his comics. I had a chance to sit down with him and Jeffrey Comic-Con Henson on Saturday, and I had a blast. I had a blast. You guys don't see me on many YouTube channels in general outside of my own. But Rob was Rob was persistent and very super polite about getting me on the channel. And I'm glad that I took the time because I had fun. Now, the downside was that there was some miscommunication about timing. I showed up 30 minutes late. 30 minutes late to his live stream. And I felt very, very bad about that. I'm not sure how it happened. It is a thing that happened. But if you guys get a chance and can swing by Just the Reekin and his comics' page and watch that video, I will definitely appreciate it, because I messed up big time. I think it all turned out well in the end, but Rob was very courteous when I rolled in 30 minutes late. So let's start to get to some of the questions. I saw some of them pop in. One of the questions that was just asked was what kind of cardio I do. So back when I was a competitive bodybuilder, I actually did 2 cardio sessions typically per day. I did one first thing in the morning around 4:30, 5 o'clock. I would walk. As a bodybuilder, sometimes walking is all you really need to do. So I would do that cardio, and then I would ride the bike or something else in the evening after my workout. Depending upon how much fat I needed to lose, I would get on the Stair Monster. I actually have commercial grade equipment here at the house, both a Stair Master, I call it a Stair Monster, and a treadmill. So depending upon how fat I was, I would use either or, but I prefer the treadmill, especially at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to get on the Stair Monster. She is not pleasant. But that was the cardio that I did. And I typically don't do no more than 40 minutes of cardio. Most of the time it was 20 to 25 minutes. And that's all that I needed to really facilitate my fat loss that I needed. So hopefully that answers that question. If not, type it in all caps and we'll try to get to it. So Ian is asking a question around my first comic book. I really don't know. I really don't. I have a feeling it was either a Spider-Man or an X-Men comic. That's my general feeling. But I really don't know what my first comic was. One of my earliest comics and oldest was Daredevil 7. It's a ratty, beat up copy of Daredevil 7. It is actually the first appearance of his new costume. I'm not even sure where I got the book from, but it has been in my collection since I was a teen and for as long as I can remember, and no clue where it came from. So hopefully that answers that one. But Chris is asking Brian Song. I don't even know what Brian Song is. What? Come on, Chris. Why are you doing this to me? What else is, have you ever hated a comic so bad you threw it in the trash? I don't know that I've ever hated a comic so bad that I threw it in the trash, but I've read comics that were just really, really bad. And I have set them aside. I actually felt that way about Venom 1. When I first read the new Donny Cates Venom 1, I struggled reading that book and set it aside. I was reading, I'm trying to remember the book. I've read a couple of books that are just not good. There was a couple of what ifs. The what if Wolverine had killed Hulk. That was really bad. That Fantastic Four book that I read recently with IG Comic Store was really bad. No, I've never written on a comic. I've never torn a page out of a comic. I've never thrown a comic in the trash, but I have come across many a comic that was deserving of trash. So hopefully that helps. 90 MF Comics is good to see you, brother. He was actually in that live stream that I did earlier with Rod. So it's good to see you again. He says favorite Spider-Man story arc and favorite non-Spider-Man story arc. So I think my favorite story arc, oh man, there are so many. I don't even know where to begin with Spider-Man because there's so many titles and so many really wonderful story arcs. I mean, honestly, I couldn't even begin to tell you what the favorite might be if you're talking about story arcs, because I think that all of them, like especially like the early Spider-Man, there really weren't story arcs per se, so much as self-contained stories almost. So I can't, there isn't one that readily comes to mind, so I can't really answer that one. So sorry about that. And then favorite non-Spider-Man, Avengers versus X-Men. I think that that's probably one of my favorite. Weapon X by far is one of my favorite. Absolutely love that story arc. The new Immortal Hulk stuff I really dig. I really got into what is that story arc? I can't even think. The one where the Watcher was killed and Nick Fury was like on the surface of the moon or something like that. Whatever that one was, I really dug that one too. So James is saying, what AF-15 grade will you settle for? So I am aiming for a 1.8 to a 2.5 for AF-15 non-signed, but I would want a 1.8 to a 2.5. More than likely, I'm going to finish up about a 1.8 is my guess, unless some miracles happen. But that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. What's your favorite ASM comic you have, and where did you get it? I think one of my favorite probably is the origin or the first appearance of Kingpin. ASM 50 might be one of my favorites. It was voted one of the most attractive covers. It's a John Romita cover. It is gorgeous. And in addition to it being a really gorgeous cover, what also makes it really special is that it is the first comic that I personally had signed by Stan Lee. I had an opportunity to stand across the table from Stan as he signed my book. There was a little bit of a smile on his face as he signed the book, because I believe that he recognized it as something that you know, he liked, he worked on, et cetera, et cetera. That's a very important book for me. And I love it. And I actually picked it up from my comic shop. Got it from my comic shop as a 7.5, cracked it open, got it signed. It came back as a 7.0, but it was completely worth losing that half grade by getting Stan and John Romita Sr. to actually sign that book. So that was Mr. Comic that asked that question. Hack X just dropped a $20 super chat. I want to thank you for that. He says, sorry, gotta go, but we'll watch the video when he comes back. But before I go, thank you, Hack X. I definitely appreciate that, brother. All of those super chats and all that kind of stuff are definitely appreciated. Can't get enough. Just dropped a super chat here for $2 as well. I absolutely appreciate you guys. Oh man, he says, gender revealed today. Wife's pregnant with 2 boys. Congratulations, brother. That is awesome. I don't know if I'll see it, but are these your first kids, second kids? Like, what's going on there? But yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations, brother. That is definitely a big moment. I have a boy and a girl. 4 is the boy and the girl is 2. So good luck to you with those 2 boys. I'm gonna tell you, boys are ridiculous. They are ridiculous. They are just wild. Chris Bigger says, since it is WrestleMania tonight, who would win in a fight, the Gibbon or Chewbacca or Bigfoot, brother? All hail the Gibbon. Okay, so Ian asked this question whether I am actually reading The Hunted. I have every ASM from the beginning, but I haven't been reading it as of late. I've just been busy reading older stuff. But the Gibbon is back. Coincidentally, I've been talking about the Gibbon because I just picked up his first appearance, but he is also back in Amazing Spider-Man 18.HU. So that is back. And at some point, I'm actually going to read that book because the Gibbon is the man. And spoiler alert, the Gibbon is who is actually going to take down Thanos. It is not going to be Captain Marvel. It is not going to be Ant-Man. It is going to be Senor Gibbon. So if you haven't picked up your first appearances of Gibbon, you are missing out and you will be behind the curve. King of the Golden State. So King of the Golden State is a very large man. He is a very large man, and I see him everywhere and have yet to speak to him. At some point I will, but I don't like people that make me feel small. So that's why I haven't spoken to King of the Golden State just yet. But King of the Golden State was actually at the Berkeley Comic Show earlier today. And his question is how much I can bench. Enough to get the weight off of my neck is the answer. As a bodybuilder, man, we focus on hypertrophy. We don't necessarily focus on the weight so much. It's really about how much muscle, how much do you need to lift in order to get a pump? If you've ever watched Arnold talk about the pump, what he's talking about is getting that muscle full of blood, because if you get the muscle full of blood, you're stretching those muscle fibers and you are forcing that muscle to grow, because through stretching those muscle fibers and getting that blood in there, you're getting the nutrients in there and you make the muscle grow larger. So I always say I can lift enough to get the weight off of me. That's how much I can lift. I understand. Do you collect Spider-Man series other than ASM? I have probably an entire short box of Web of Spider-Man. I have probably 2 boxes of Spectacular Spider-Man. I have some Ultimate Spider-Man. If I have some Spidey, if it says Spider-Man on it, I might actually buy it, but I am really focused on ASM just because of the historical significance of ASM. That is like my focus. But when I was younger and didn't have a ton of money, Web of Spider-Man was like the best that I could do. I thought Web of Spider-Man was the greatest thing ever, especially because I couldn't afford ASM. And then, as an adult, you try to buy all that stuff that you couldn't buy as a kid. And that's part of the reason why I'm really buying ASM. And it's also because there are so many classic appearances, so many classic characters and battles that happened in ASM. It's kind of hard not to pick those books up if you have a chance to do so. So Party Time Comics is in the house. It's good to see you, brother. In fact, I actually have a massive stack of ASM next to me, probably 40 some odd books that you guys will see in a video soon, maybe. I'm actually going to be doing a new series. I'm actually going to be letting you guys in on some secrets that I've been using to actually tap into books. And so stay tuned for that series. I may have a part 2 already that will go down tomorrow. So definitely stay tuned for that, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So Just the Rican is still here. He said, had a blast, brother. It was an enjoyable show. It really was an enjoyable show. And my hope is that folks will get a chance to swing over, check it out. Skip the first 30 minutes. No, don't skip. Watch the first 30 minutes. Just know that I'm not in the first 30 minutes because I can't tell time. All right. Tina says that it was a good show. Tina, thank you for swinging by. Tina was the first person to actually send me a message after the show wrapped up, and she was like, that was fun. You did a good job. So shout out to Tina for being such a great member of this comic book community. Bro, because of comics says you never said what kind of collector you are. Oh, that's a very good question. Okay. So I am a combination of collectors. Generally speaking, I buy for the long term. I sell very few things. Very few things do I actually sell. So in respect to like Amazing Spider-Man, you could consider me a completist, right? Because I want every Amazing Spider-Man book there is. And so you could consider me a completist there. When it comes to Web of Spider-Man, for example, I might be more of maybe a key hunter. If there really are keys of Web of Spider-Man, there really aren't many other than like one and maybe a couple of others. When it comes to X-Men, right now with X-Men, I am a key hunter, but at some point I will turn into a completist for X-Men for at least a certain number of books. And then everything else from there is really, it's primarily keys, right? Everything else is primarily keys, but just remember that I have probably 5,000 books in my collection. So I have a lot of non-key, non-significant comics. You know what I'm saying? So and it's stuff that I treasure because at some point in my life when I bought that book and read that book was important to me. And so I still have those books. I don't sell them. I don't get rid of them. They sit right here in poly bags and they get, hauled from house to house whenever I move, but I'm not one type of thing. I don't consider myself a cover hunter. I don't buy a ton of variants anymore, but occasionally if something strikes me, I buy it. Right now, I am just really, really focused on Amazing Spider-Man. So hopefully, bro, because a comic that actually answers your question. And generally, what I try to do, honestly, is I try to practice what I preach. If I say that I'm going to do this thing, I try to do that thing. But then I'm also human, so sometimes I deviate. But by and large, I try to stay consistent with the things that I say that I'm going to do. Chaotic Kindness says he's going to keep checking in. He says it is dinner time, so definitely get your food on. What is your current favorite book in your collection? Oh man, Sean Richards is asking that question. Um, Right now, honestly, I'm reading early ASM, right? So that's probably like the hot thing right now for me. Whatever that book is that is in ASM that I'm reading right now is probably the hot book. I'm also reading Death of X. Someone actually sent me the Death of X. So I'm actually on Death of X 3 right now. I started watching the Cloak and Dagger TV show. I just finished season 1 yesterday and I started watching season 2. So I'm actually on issue 2 of Cloak and Dagger, the original series. And I'm actually looking at my phone right now because I'm reading digitally on this stuff at night. And then I also broke out Werewolf by Night 32, because everyone told me that what is his name? Whatever that character is, I can't think. Moon Knight is like hot. So I decided to read Werewolf by Night. So I'm reading that right now. I think I have like a page or two left on that. And then I'm also, what issue is this? I am actually reading as we speak. This is this is Amazing Spider-Man what number is this? I don't even know what number it is. It's the one with the vulture on the cover, like every other book. But I'm also still doing ongoing reading around ASM. So, what extra book you got to sell? So I actually didn't buy that many books, man. And at the con, I bought a couple of books actually today from the Berkeley Comic Con. You guys will see that video in a couple of weeks. And then I bought this stack yesterday. I'll show you this. This is part of what I bought here locally from a guy. And that's part of my new series that I'll tell you guys about. But while I'm showing books, maybe I'll show you a couple. So I'm actually, we're going to do Trivia Night. We're going to bring Trivia Night back. And Trivia Night actually is, I think, going to happen this Thursday. This Thursday at 7 o'clock, maybe a little earlier, we may actually do Trivia Night. So I want to show you guys some of the books that may actually make their way to Trivia Night. This is actually the first appearance of Lady Mandarin. It is Jim Lee's, one of Jim Lee's early covers right there. New Warriors number 25. Thought that was a cool book that reminds me of my childhood. It's got a die cut there. Guardians of the Galaxy reminds me of my childhood. Morbius number 1 is another book that I picked up. Infinity Gauntlet number 6. Secret Defenders number 1. And then the last book that I picked up yesterday was New Mutants 18. This is the first appearance of like Demon Bear. So those are just some of the books that are actually going to be made available as part of the upcoming Trivia Night. So if you guys get a chance, make sure you tune in Thursday at 7 o'clock. It is going down. A huge shout out to my buddy Vika, aka the Closet Geek, for sponsoring Trivia Night, because that is going down. So Thierry, that's all that I have right now. And again, can't get enough shout out to you, brother, for the super chat there. Got a couple of congratulatory comments here for our buddy for his birth. So there's another question here from Urban Video Plus. He said he's thinking about selling some books on eBay for the first time. What's a good way to ship them to customers so that they don't get damaged during the delivery process? So I don't actually have them here. I'm actually trying to get a guest on the show to address that very question, because a lot of people are, and I'm not saying this about you, but a lot of people sell books without taking the proper precautions. So one of the things that I'm a fan of, if you're going to be selling books, trading books, giving books away, whatever it is, spend some money and get some Gemini shippers. I've actually been in contact with the owner of Gemini Shippers because I'm actually trying to get him on the show, and there's some things going on in his life, but we'll get him on at some point. But Gemini Shippers, you can get them from Amazon. You can get them from Gemini Supply Company or something like that online. Google it. That's one way to go. The other way, and I actually have a link, I have a video on the channel. Basically what you want to do is you want to take 2 pieces of cardboard that are actually bigger than the comic, right? So maybe 1 inch on either side. top and bottom, left and right of the comic, and you cut them out and you basically make a brick, right? So you put the cardboard on either side of the book, right? Or the books, you secure it in place with some tape or something like that, right? There's lots of ways to do it. And then you can put that in a box or something like that. Or, yeah, a box is probably going to be your best way. So if you get the shippers from the United States Postal Service, that's not a bad way to go, right? I prefer the Gemini shippers because you can actually ship up to 10 to 12 books in there, and you can do first class mail, and it'll only cost you about $5 to ship it anywhere. The Gemini shippers are fantastic, but they're not free. You have to buy them. But if that isn't an option, 2 pieces of sturdy cardboard on either side, you form a brick. It's basically called a brick. It's the same way you ship the CGC. That is a good way to go. And again, there is a video on the website somewhere. It's called Bulletproof Shipping or something like that. It's one of the early videos that I did. So hopefully that helps you out. Scroll. And if not, just message me on Instagram and we can talk a little bit more about it. DLE Comic says, when you see a list of new books, you mean must buy, you can't buy them all. How would you choose? When you see a list of new books, I don't know. I don't really feel the pressure of the must buy. I have a pull list that is set up for certain books. So it's like Fantastic Four, it's the X-Men, it's Amazing Spider-Man, the Immortal Hulk, maybe a couple other things that I'm about to trim back on, but those are the books that I buy, right? Because the thing is that you only have so much money, right? You only have so much time to actually read books. And so the question becomes, who are your favorite characters? What is the priority of your collection? Like, where is your focus? Like for me right now, again, if it's not Amazing Spider-Man, cool, but I'm gonna get this ASM, right? Or I'm going to get this ASM and this book is so inexpensive that I can get it and it really won't bother, right? So you just have to decide, what is the focus of your collection? Who is your favorite character? What are you trying to accomplish? What are your goals? How does that book that you're looking at fit into those things, right? And I actually had somebody say that to me today. They were like, I respect the fact that you have such focus. And I do. I set goals. I take the goals down. And if something doesn't fit in the goal, then it doesn't happen. It's the same way for fitness. Right? How are you able to maintain your diet? Well, it doesn't fit my goals. I have a goal to accomplish, right? I'm trying to step on stage. I'm trying to look good. And I want to do it without having regrets. So if I eat this garbage, then I'm going to have regrets and it won't allow me to achieve my goal. I don't do it. For me, without the goal setting part of it, then you wax and wane. That's why you set the goal. What is the goal for your collection? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to buy something to turn around and flip it? If so, then that tells you something. Are you buying it and holding it? That tells you something. If you buy this book over here, can you not buy something else? And if that's the case, which book is most important to you? So you can really ask and answer those questions for yourself. So hopefully DLE, that helps you just a little bit. What was the one book or grail you're still trying to hunt down? Oh man. So where's my list? So AF-15 for certain is one that I'm still trying to hunt down. I think it's ASM 40 that I keep seeing, but I'm not really able to find one in decent shape. This is actually my little cheat sheet. ASM 4 with the Sandman is a book that I absolutely love. I absolutely love the quadrants and the red cover. And I looked at one today and it had a bent staple. Like I wasn't ready to drop the money on the book today, but it had a bent staple. So many of them are just so damaged or really, really expensive. But sooner or later, ASM 4 will make its way to my house and will sit in my bin. But that's definitely a book that I really want, that I will hopefully get at some point. So we'll do a couple of more questions and then we're going to go ahead and get to this drawing, and then maybe we'll answer some other questions down the road. So someone was asking the first appearance of Major X. That is actually Death of was it Death of X? Yeah, Death of X is actually the first appearance of Major X. For those that don't know, it's actually, he was actually Cyclops first before he became Major. All right, so let me scroll down. What's your favorite DC character? My favorite DC character is Batman. I've been watching the Green Arrow TV show, and it is the bomb. The Green Arrow TV show is the bomb. I absolutely love that show. And I have a feeling maybe I'll become like a Green Arrow fan or something. I've been watching Flash, and I'm digging Flash too. So maybe I'll become a Flash fan as well, with the Speed Force and the Reverse Flash and all that kind of stuff. So definitely some cool stuff. So again, if you have some questions, type them in all caps, because it actually helps me and my old eyes to actually be able to see the questions. There's one here from Friendly Neighborhood Luke. Do you recommend reading iconic stories in the single issue trade paperback or Marvel Unlimited? I have never purchased a trade paperback. I have never purchased it. I'm a floppy guy, right? I like floppies. I like comics, right? I am a collector, and I like books. So I've never bought a trade paperback. I've had some given to me and I've read some, but I've never purchased one. And I don't think there's anything wrong if you want to go that route. But for me, I think that Marvel Unlimited is a really good way to go. And in fact, I made a video about Marvel Unlimited. Someone jokingly said, I have a video about everything. You are correct, sir. Marvel Unlimited is a good way to go. I do the annual membership. That way I don't have to worry about the nickels and dimes that come out every single month. I do the annual membership. I think it's like $60 or something like that. And I primarily read comics digitally. Even if I buy the comic, I may buy it slabbed or raw, and I may still read it digitally. Now, it's not because I don't like paper. I absolutely love turning pages and reading comics. And when I walk in my room and smell the paper in the air, I love it. But I oftentimes read in bed. And it's easier to read on an iPad than it is anything else. And then if I'm reading like on the sofa in it's daytime, it's easier to read digitally with my kids around versus having to come into the comic book room and close the door or be isolated. If you have kids, you know what I mean. They are messy. They will run right into you and jump right in your lap. And if I have an iPad, it's much easier than if I have a piece of paper. So I think that for me, Marvel Unlimited is a good way to go. It's relatively inexpensive. And I think there are now, I want to say when you boot it up, it says that there's 25,000 books that are actually available in Marvel Unlimited. So for me, it's a really cool way to go. So I definitely dig that. So hopefully, Luke, that helps you with your question there. So I'm scrolling down. Let's maybe take one more question and then we will move on and maybe do the drawing, and then we'll get back to some questions. So boom man is saying, hey, Reggie, new subscriber here. Love your vids. Do you think X-Men 94 is a good investment to get right now? Right back there, brother. So I like the X-Men. And I think that X-Men books and keys are generally undervalued, except for like number 1, number 2, a couple of early ones. Generally, I think that the X-Men keys are undervalued. And so I have X-Men 1, giant size X-Men 1. I have X-Men 94. I have 101. So I have many of the keys. And I really enjoy the X-Men, but I do think that X-Men books are underrated, and 94 is underrated, and it's a really good book. It is a really good read. It's actually the second appearance of the team. So it was basically, they were all in giant size X-Men, right? Wolverine's second appearance, the team's first appearance, and then they jumped over to Uncanny X-Men 94. That was the first in the title. So that was the second appearance of most of the major characters. It is an undervalued book. And I actually got that book while I was at WonderCon for a low price. A low price. There were raw books that were being sold here locally to me in California that were the same or more than the slab that I picked up. And that book actually has 3 pressable defects, and it's a 7. So 3 pressable defects and it's a 7. So you're probably looking at hopefully an 885 if I were to ever crack it. But I really, really like X-Men 94. And I think that was the start of Chris Claremont's run, his 17-year run on X-Men. And so if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, I don't think that you can go wrong with that. Kingpin Comics says, would you learn to clean and press your own books? No. Chris, please don't tell my wife that, brother. No, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, it's easy, you can do it. No, there are some things that I think are best left to professionals, and so there's that. And then there's also the time element. Like, it takes a lot of time to make videos, to brainstorm videos, to shoot videos, to edit videos, to then do all the other stuff that I want to do with comics, like reading, right? And then all the stuff that I have to do with like my personal and professional life, right? My kids and all that stuff. I don't think that I can carve out time for cleaning my own books and pressing my own books when I can just give them to somebody else, pay $10 and let them deal with it. I think it's cool if people do it. I think it's cool. It's just, it's not going to be for me. It's not going to be for me. A lot of the Spider Ghost Riders in the house, bunch of people in here. All right. So Tina said my content is awesome. I think she's talking to me about that. Clay says he cleans the whites on his covers. He won't tell a secret. Okay. Candy Grandman says he got his X-Men 1 1990 signed by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. Very nice, man. The last comic he cleaned took him over 10 hours. Wow. Chaos Lord says the last comic he cleaned took over 10 hours. That is crazy. The Reginators mount up. TJ, how you doing? I don't have that kind of patience to clean a comic for 10 hours. I don't. I have just so much other stuff to do that it's just, if I think it's a good skill, but I just don't have it in me. All right, so let's John's Comics with Kids. I think he's saying something is underrated. Maybe it's me, maybe it's X-Men 94. I don't know. John's Comics says he thinks the amount of time and effort making daily videos for the people who produce videos each day. Yeah, man, bro, it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work, and you know what, honestly, we talked a little bit about this on Just a Rican's channel. What makes it worthwhile a lot of times is the email that you get from somebody or the direct message that you get from somebody that says, thank you. Your video helped me. Your video changed how I collect. Your video affected how I buy books or how I organize books or something along those lines. It's rewarding because we create this content and you didn't let it go. And you don't know what's going to happen. Like you think it's good, right? In your head, it made sense, but you don't know if it's going to land the right way on people. You don't know whether it's actually going to help somebody. And when the messages come in and people are like, this helped me. I watched your video. And like I had a young guy today. He said, you're a YouTuber, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I am here because I watched a video you made talking about this con. You know what I'm saying? I had people today taking photos with me because they appreciate the stuff that I do because it's helped them. And to me, that's what makes it fun. I do a lot of work in terms of shooting videos, editing videos at night, like late, and again, it's just rewarding to have someone say thank you, and that's why when people give super chats and they send me AOKs, I appreciate it, whatever it is, because it is basically an acknowledgement of the sacrifices that are being made, someone actually appreciating that thing. And that means a lot because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of work, and I'm a lot faster at it now than early on, but it still takes a lot of time, especially when you are trying to create content that isn't like everyone else's. Right. My goal is to create content that isn't like everyone else's. Right. My goal is to create content that is different, that is thought provoking, that has some substance and is also kind of fun and entertaining. And then also that is for new collectors, newly returning collectors and seasoned collectors. Right. So there is some complexity to some of the things that I do. And sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I get it wrong. And it's fun. So I understand he really wants to start a YouTube channel about his collection and about anything and everything Spidey. He just can't make the first jump, even have a perfect channel name, Daily Bugle. I actually dig that, brother. Here's the thing. Just do it. My first videos, sound was awful. I think the sound was awful. My lighting was good. And I was super nervous, but I did it. And people actually watched. And then people watched more and I made more videos and people watched those. And then I made videos and then people didn't watch some of the videos, but I kept making videos. I personally feel that there is more than enough people out there that are interested in watching videos about comics, especially if you are speaking with your authentic voice and you are saying something different, right? I think that, the last thing you want to do is to start a video where, a channel and all you're doing is exactly what other people do, right? The goal in my mind is to do something that isn't being done, to speak with a voice that hasn't been heard, because that allows you to stand out and apart from other people and to have your area. You know what I'm saying? And I had somebody say to me once, you need to pick a lane. You need to pick a lane for what you're going to talk about. And my response was, no, I don't. I am a diverse person, right? I'm a professional. I'm a father. I am a husband. I am a comic book collector. I am a bodybuilder, and I'm a former journalist, right? I allow all of those things to influence the content that I create. And sometimes I go left, sometimes I go right, but I'm going to meander and I'm going to talk about things that are interesting to me. I don't have to pick a thing. I disagree that you have to pick a thing. But that works for me. Somebody else may say, I just want to do this one thing. And you know what? That's okay too. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let's do Denzel of YouTube. You guys are hilarious. I really do believe that I have. Oh, that was actually Nathan that said that. Here's the Denzel of JP remembers those early days when I was sitting it was actually my island. It was the island in my kitchen. It was this massive island. The island was as big as the house because I live in California, and it was just a tiny, tiny little house in a massive island. I used to sit there and do videos right in my kitchen. So let's get to the drawing. We're gonna do this drawing because we have a couple of books to give away, and then maybe we'll get back to the Q&A because there's 120 some odd people here. So the first thing I want to do before we get to the drawing is I want to say this: if you entered last week's contest and you have not watched the Ready, Set, Go preview show from last week, you may have been the winner. And I say that you may have been a winner because I am still holding the book that was given away last week because the winner has not claimed the book. You winner, if you were watching this, and I honestly don't even remember who it is. If you won this book, you have one more week to claim it. And if not, this book will go to the second name on the list. This is a 9.8 Detective Comics 880 signed by Jacques and Scott Snyder. It is a gorgeous book that I would love to keep in my collection, but I honestly want to send it to you, winner of last week's giveaway. If you have not watched that video, please go watch that video and send me an email claiming your book so that I can get it out to you. So today we are actually, here, let me do the updates real quick. Sorry. I got off track. So we are doing one live stream this week. We're actually going to do an interview with my buddy, Ben. Ben is actually going to come on the channel on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And he is going to be bringing with him some rare Alex Schomburg covers. Rare Alex Schomburg covers are going to be shown. And these are like World War II books, battle scenes, and classic Schomburg covers. My buddy Ben, who goes by Tech31, is going to be on the show. He's a guy that I actually have met locally. I actually saw him earlier today at the con. He is going to be on the show Wednesday at 7:30. So if you are interested in like Schomburg and just awesome covers, you definitely want to stay tuned for that live stream later this week. And then because people are like, Reggie, your list of the people that entered the giveaways is getting so long, we are bringing Trivia Night back. So again, thanks to my buddy Vika, aka Closet Geek, who is sponsoring our Trivia Night. We are going to be giving away some books this week, and we're probably going to do, 9 or 10 giveaways, something like that. So Thursday at 7 p.m. we are going to do Trivia Night. I'm hoping to pull it forward to maybe 6 o'clock so that people on the East Coast can actually participate at least for a little while. But at a maximum, it will start Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Hopefully I can pull it forward, but we're going to do Trivia Night. And you guys have seen some of the books that I'm going to be giving away. I'm actually going to add to that stack, and there should be some pretty cool books that are going to be given away. This week, we have some hunting videos that are coming out. I have a video that I did about J. Scott Campbell. That might be a little controversial. I did the video several weeks ago. I had it scheduled. I pulled it down, and then I put it back up. and it's going to go live this week. It is about J. Scott Campbell. It's fun, but could be controversial. But if you guys get a chance, this should be a fun video to watch. And then I also have a video coming out about the Gerber Guides. And a lot of people think the Gerber Guides is about baby food. It is not. And that's why I'm doing the video. So stay tuned for that. I still need to finish editing that video. But the Gerber Guides is really important for the comic book community. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that video. All right. So now let's give away some stuff. These are the slabs that are actually going to be given away this week. This is a 9.8 Black Panther number 170. This is a 9.2 White Pages Punisher number 1. These are the two books that are going to be given away to one winner, along with this right here, a t-shirt, a GoCollect t-shirt, because they are, after all, our sponsors, and they allow us to give away this cool stuff every single week. And then we're also going to be giving away an exclusive GoCollect variant. This is Soulfire exclusive number 1. This is limited to 500 copies, and it's a pretty nice copy. I haven't read the book yet, but if you are the winner, will get a copy of everything that I just showed you here a few moments ago. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys so that you can actually see the list of names of all the people that are in the drawing for this week. So I'll pull this up and share it. So we're going to roll the dice, and then we'll look at the list. So let's roll these dice. Actually, let's look at the list first. So here's the list of names. I want to say that there are 211 people or so that are actually in the running for this week. That's actually down like 90 some odd people. So if you're on the list, you should feel good, because your odds are pretty good that you could win, versus last week where there were like 300 and some odd names. So here is the list of names. This was actually posted earlier today, I think about 8 o'clock or so. So hopefully if you entered, your name is here on the list. And again, it was posted in 2 places earlier today. So let's go ahead and roll these dice, see how many times we're actually going to have to do this. So we rolled the dice, and we now have to randomize the list 3 times. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to do that. All right, so let's see how many names. Yep, 213. All right, so we are going to randomize 1 time. Here is the 2nd time. And the winner of these 2 awesome CGC slabs is Tony. And Tony, I can't say your last name. I don't know your last name. So Tony, if you are watching this, you are the winner, my friend. Congratulations. All you need to do to claim your prize is to actually send me an email at regiecollects@gmail.com and tell me your screen name, your real name, your mailing address, your shirt size, and I will get this prize pack sent out to you tomorrow. If I get the email tonight, I will get this out to you. We have 2 really, really cool slabs, a Young Guns Black Panther and a Punisher number 1, 2 awesome slabs from CGC, a really cool GoCollect t-shirt. Again, the shirt only comes in large and extra large, so please let me know which size you prefer, and then a cool exclusive variant. All of this will be packaged up in a priority box and shipped out to you just as soon as I receive your email. So one more time, I want to run through, and stay tuned because I have some other stuff that I want to do. There are going to be 2 live sessions this week. One of them is Wednesday at 7:30, Rare Schomburg Comics with my buddy Ben. That is going to be Wednesday at 7:30 Pacific time. Awesome rare books are going to be seen. I already have the list of books, and I'm telling you, they are awesome. And then on Thursday at 7 o'clock Pacific time, we are going to do trivia night. Shout out to Closet Geek for sponsoring. What we may end up doing is trying to pull that Thursday trivia night forward to maybe 6 o'clock, but set your reminders at 7 o'clock. And as soon as this live stream is over, I'm actually going to make public the 2 announcements for those 2 events so that you can set reminders. So if anything changes, you will be notified. But hopefully I will see you guys at 7:30 on Wednesday and 7 o'clock on Thursday for those 2 awesome things. All right. And again, congratulations to, I think it was Tony. I think it was my buddy, Tony, who actually won the giveaway. So I'm reading some of the comments here. I can't. Cody Logan is asking who the winner of the 880 was. Brother, I don't remember, to be honest with you. I rarely go back and watch my own live streams. So whoever entered the contest, I would encourage you to go back, look at last week's Ready, Set, Go preview show, find out if you're the winner. I want to say, no, I can't even remember. I can't even remember. So definitely somebody should go back. And yet, Musher actually did win. Musher actually did win, and he actually got his prize sent out to him already. He won the prize, the facsimile cover of Hulk 181 from IG Comic Store, and that was already sent out to him. And then Tony is the winner tonight. So hopefully Tony will claim his prize in a timely manner so we can get that shipped out to him. So here's the next question. I got to cover this up. I have two books. I have two books in my hand. Two books. And the question becomes, and I'm going to try to show them this way, so maybe you can't see everything. Two books in my hand. Which book do you want to be next week's giveaway? I have two books in my hand. Which books do you want to be the giveaway for next week? The left or the right? And you can't go wrong, right? So which book do you want to be the giveaway for next week? The left or the right? So Bob Collects is saying P. Patrick won last week. That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. So I'm hearing people say left. I'm seeing a lot of lefts. I'm seeing a lot of rights now. I'm seeing a lot of rights and left. And you Candygram Man, you think it's something. It may not be that thing. And let me tell you, you cannot go wrong. So Ian is saying P. Patrick. So P. Patrick, if you're watching this video, you might want to claim your prize, brother, because that 880 is nice. That 880 is nice. Somebody says both. No. All right, here we go. This is what we're going to do. My buddy Tina. Tina is here. Tina, tell me which book you want. And tell me, Tina is my friend. And that's why Tina is going to be the decider. Reggie, what should I buy here? We're going to get to questions just a moment. Just a moment. Which is the better grade? They are identical. They are identical grades. Tina, you tell me which one you want, left or right, and it's going to be that book. Tony says middle. Tony, if this weren't a family, I'm sorry, Tommy, if this wasn't a family show, I'd show you middle. All right. So my buddy Tina has said that she wants the right. And you honestly can't go wrong with this. All right. So I'm going to show you this. This to me is a cool book. And then I'm going to show you. Let me show you the other one, folks. Let me show you the one Tina didn't pick. This is the one Tina didn't pick. Venom number 3. 9.8 white pages. This is Kevin Larone says shaboom. This is the one that Tina did not pick. She did not pick Venom 3 9.8. This is, in my opinion, a really cool book. This is a cool book, but this book goes back in the box. That book goes back in the box to be seen another day, And a couple of people are saying sick. That is no. Oh snap. That's the one she didn't pick. Okay. Tina actually doesn't hate Venom. Tina doesn't hate Venom. Remember I said you can't go wrong, right? You can't go wrong. So this is the one Tina picked. Tina picked Venom number 1, signed by Donny Cates. This is Venom 166. This is the Virgin cover, and it is signed by Donny Cates. I think that this one is cool. I think this is a cool book. So this is going to be next week's giveaway. This is what Tina picked. It is Venom number 1, Venom 166 Virgin cover, signed by Donny Cates, 9.8. And again, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong, right? It is not, the only thing that would have been better would be the first appearance of the Gibbon. All right. So this is what's going to be given away this coming week. Shout out to Tina for picking the right book. So stay tuned to all the videos that get released this week, because at some point during those videos during this week, you will receive directions on how to actually win this book. And again, shout out to GoCollect for putting us in a position to actually be able to buy these books and give them away every single week. And yeah, I have a story to tell about GoCollect that someone tried to get over on me. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Gibbon is a beast. The Gibbon is indeed a beast. All right. So that's what's going to be given away next week. So let's get back. If you guys have some questions, you're going to be given that way. James, you are funny. Daniel says he got a copy of that cover, say won't hurt. There you go. When it doesn't win, there you go. I actually don't have that book, and that's part of why I like to keep it. Because when I go shopping for these books, I kind of sort of buy books that I don't have or books that I really like, and I really wanted that book, so that's part of the reason why I picked that one up. I think that cover is really, really cool, and also a little strange and creepy. All right, so questions. Let's get back to this. If you guys have some questions, let's ask a couple of questions. Put them in all caps. We're going to answer a couple more before I get myself out of here, because I have to go watch my 600-pound life with my wife. That's what we do. We watch 600-pound life because it's interesting and fascinating. Marvel Joe says Hulk 181 needs to go back on the wall. At some point it will. Here's the cool thing though, is that a lot of the videos that you'll probably see over the course of this week will probably have 181 on the wall. So in some ways, it'll actually be up there. It'll actually be up there. Regie, favorite non-superhero movie? Oof. I gotta think about that one. Favorite non-superhero movie. Hold on, let me stop the chat because it is actually gonna get away from me. I don't know. I'd have to think a little bit more about that one. Who asked that? Chris Barrett? I would have to think more about that, about my favorite movie. Nothing's coming to mind right now, to be honest with you. Let me circle back on that one. Maybe something will actually pop into my mind because I'm in so much comic book mode at the moment that I haven't even pontificated that one. Oh shoot, I lost the chat. Hold on one sec. Jason Ova is saying Fantastic Four 48 or Avengers 4. What would you buy before in-game if you can only get one? If I had to pick between the two, I would go Fantastic Four 48. The Avengers, I'm just not a fan of Avengers, just period. Like whether you're talking about 1 or you're talking about 4, I think Fantastic Four 48. I think it has more long-term potential, and it is also just a really good book, so that would be my pick between the two of them, between Fantastic Four 49 and Avengers 4. I would go that route. Wouldn't you know it, I have ASM 109 and 111, but not 110. I'm actually, somebody's about to actually AOK me 111 because I actually don't have 111, but somebody's actually about to send it to me because I actually don't have that book. Is grading worth the extra money? Clay is asking that question. It depends. Not every book should be slabbed. Not every book should. I think that you have to decide, again, what kind of collector are you? What kind of collection do you want? And then you have to figure out whether the dollars and cents make sense, right? So if you have a book and the book is only valued at $20, it's going to cost you more to get that book cleaned and pressed and slabbed than the book is worth. I probably wouldn't do it. Modern books, you may want to wait 3 months or so after the modern book comes out to make sure that book is actually going to maintain its value before you get it encapsulated, unless you're planning to flip it. So like if it's a hot book and you don't plan to hold it, you plan to get rid of it, just go ahead and encapsulate it, turn around and sell it, take your money now. But if you have a modern book and you're like, I want to keep this book forever, well, wait a couple of months. If the book is still hot and if the numbers still make sense, then you encapsulate it, because then you're preserving it for the long period. If you have an older book that's actually worth some money, a couple of $100 or whatever, it depends on what kind of collector you want to be, right? If you want to display your books, if you want to, give some physical and chemical protection to that book, encapsulation is not a bad way to go. It's a personal decision to some degree. I have a ton of ASM books. Like 90% of my collection isn't even encapsulated because I just don't think that many of these books warrant encapsulation. And then I have a lot of amazing books that aren't encapsulated yet because it costs a lot of money to get books slabbed. And you have to weigh the pros and cons of if I get this book encapsulated, then maybe I can't buy another book. If I get this book encapsulated, does it make good dollars and cents? Am I going to hold this book long term? Am I trying to sell the book? I think you have to go through those questions and kind of ask yourself those questions and decide for yourself. And actually have a video. If you get on the channel, there's a lot of videos about reasons to slab, reasons not to slab, why certain books shouldn't be slabbed and why others should. So I would say it's not as simple as yes or no. If grading is worth it or not. I think there's more questions about what you have to ask yourself to figure out if it makes sense. Now, if you do decide to do grading, then you have to decide which grading company you want to go with because there's options out there. There's self-encapsulation. There's, you pay somebody to grade it and encapsulate it. And there's a spectrum of companies that can actually do that for you. And you have to decide if you want to grade, which one to go with, because you absolutely have options. So Clay, if you want to talk about that one some more, just definitely reach out to me and we can talk about that. So Chris is asking the next book that I'm actually after. This is it. This is my fancy, very high-tech list of every book that I'm actually after. I'm actually really focused on Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 261. I'm buying other books, but this is really where my focus is right now. And someone asked me why 261? Why 261? It seems like a random number. I think it was Ian. It is a random number because I want the full run, 1 through 801. But you have to have some focus to what you're trying to do. If you're trying to buy 1 through 801 all at the same time, you're going to be all over the place, right? It's chaos. And where you find, those low number Spider-Man is not the same place as where you find the 700s, the 600s, the 500s. They're not necessarily in the same hunting ground. And when I was looking through my books and I was trying to identify all of the missing books, all of the gaps, I went through, I think it was 2 bins, maybe 3 bins, and because they're short boxes. And the last book in the last bin that I looked at was 261, or it was 262. And so I stopped there, right? Because again, you have to focus somewhere. Like if I had stopped at 100, maybe that wouldn't give me enough freedom to find books. So I stopped at 261. It seemed like a good place to stop versus opening up another bin and trying to go through there and all that stuff. So that's kind of where I stopped, was in 261. So hopefully that kind of helps. I am going after low number Amazing Spider-Man, and 261 seemed like a simple place to stop. When can you send it to me? Okay, I'm trying to scroll through this. Again, if you have questions, type them in caps so I can see them. Reggie is casting director for the Avengers 5 with the Gibbon as the base. Brother, I'm telling you, the Gibbon is the man. The Gibbon will save us all. Is it better to get comics signed on the cover? So C plus E2. So real talk about that. Real talk. I am struggling with getting my comics signed right now. And I'm struggling for lots of reasons, whether you're talking about the cost, whether you're talking about, is it an artistic signature in the right place? Do I really need a signature? I am leaning towards personally not getting any of my books signed. And then if I do get it signed, I've thought about getting it signed on the inside cover, but then the question becomes, what are you doing with that book? If you decide to get that book encapsulated, it may be best to get it on the cover. Especially if you're going to sell the book, I would get it on the cover. If you're going to get the book signed and you're just going to get it encapsulated for yourself, then it won't matter as much. If you're going to get the book signed and you're not going to get it encapsulated and you're just going to keep it in your collection, inside on the splash page may be a good way to go. Possibly with a notation on the bag itself that the book has been signed, because over time you may forget, or your heirs may forget and never actually look on the inside of the book. But I think it's one of those personal decisions around, again, what are you doing with your collection? What is your objective? What are you going to do with the book long term? Those are questions that have to be asked and answered only by you. I am leaning towards not getting any book signed at all. No book signed. That's just where my head is right now. Like I went to WonderCon and people were like, so what did you get signed? Nothing. Not one thing got signed. I'm starting to think that if I do meet a creator that I think is really cool and want to get something signed, I may get like a sketch pad or something like that, or maybe a blank cover and get a signature on that. I don't think that I'm going to get any more books signed. And again, that's just where my head is right now. Scrolling down, looking for all caps. Just look. I personally don't get Big Will. He has arrived. Big Will is saying, personally, I don't like signatures. I only sign books that are to sale. There you go. I think again, he's probably arrived at that point because he's asked himself some questions around his goals and objectives for his collection. But again, I think everyone has to decide for themselves, what works best for them. Evan is saying inside on old books, outside on moderns. Again, he's drawn a line in a different place. And I think that, there is no wrong way to collect. There is no wrong way to get a book signed. There is no wrong way to buy or sell. It's just a question of what works for you and what makes you happy. And I say, do that thing. Hashtag giving saves us all. Hashtag. Robert has always been complete numbers, working on runs. They never get cheap. Indeed, they never do. Get some stuff signed for free at a local con. Nothing wrong with that. Triples of that issue. Tom, I think you guys are having a lot. So your short box kind of Chris, brother, if this weren't a family show, I'd tell you some stuff. Why is it that everyone names Chris, whether it's Chris Bigger or Chris Barrett or Chris from We Love Comics? Chris is cause trouble. You guys are awesome. Have you ever found any autographed books in dollar bins? So I have actually purchased collections and found books that were signed, and it was not disclosed that those books were signed. And one of the things that I'm a big fan of, like I don't really hunt dollar bins. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I don't go through dollar bins. I don't have the patience for that. I met a guy today that actually hunts in thrift, not thrift stores, but flea markets. And he says to me, I don't have the budget you have, because he watches the channel. So he knows all about me and stuff like that. He's like, I don't have the budget that you have. He was like, I hunt in dollar bins and 50-cent bins and flea markets and stuff like that. I don't have the patience for that. My attention span for being somewhere is really short, and I go places, I enjoy them, and then I'm gone, right? So, but I have found signed books in collections that I've purchased that were never disclosed. And I discovered them because I actually take the time when I buy books to actually open them up and look through the books. And I've actually discovered signatures that way. So that's always a very good thing. If you see me in the wild hunting books, I always open the book up. I look inside and see what's what, because back in the day, a lot of books were signed on the splash page to someone else's question. So James saying he's got to run. He needs to get some sleep. James, thank you for stopping by, brother. I definitely appreciate you hanging out with us for just a little bit and get some rest. And we will see you soon. Chris Bear says, if you meet someone like Jim Steranko, what book would you have him sign? So if let's just say we're going to play the game of getting it signed, right? I would get the book behind me, that XMen 50. I would get that XMen 50 signed, or I would get that Nick Fury #4. It is that black and white cover that Nick Fury has. That book is dope. That is a dope book that I don't own that I want. So my thing is, when I meet, if I were to get a book signed, I want the book signed. I want an iconic book signed by that person. Like when I was going to meet Stan Lee, I got XMen 50 because I thought it was a cool book. I loved it. The artist had something to do with it, or the creator had something to do with it. I got Stan to sign it, and I got John Romita to sign it, and it is a gorgeous book. I want the creator to sign an iconic book that they actually had something to do with, that is meaningful to me and probably meaningful to them. Jim Lee, why not some of his first work? Why not that Alpha Flight book that he worked on, or the first Gambit cover that he actually drew? I think that those are meaningful books in a lot of ways, and it's not just some random book that you happen to grab. So hopefully, but yeah, if I met Steranko, I would get that XMen 50 signed by him, and I would want him to do it in like a complementary color. So like a green or like a yellow. I think that would look really, really nice. And for those that don't know, that book is maybe right there. I can't really see. I think that book is like right over my head. And so that is just a really cool green and yellow book that I think is awesome. So I'm scrolling down. Who Dat Comics is in the house. How you doing, brother? He says he needs to watch his own rewind. Brother, we're just in here chatting, having a good time. So definitely, if you get a chance, go back and watch it out. Watch it. Chaotic Lord says if he met Jim Steranko, he would have him sign his Steranko Guide to Comics. That's not bad. Is it Nick Fury 1 or is it Nick Fury 4? I thought it was 4. Now, is that Captain America 111? Is that the one with Bucky Barnes at Cap's grave? I think that was the one. I think that X-Men 50 was also where he redesigned the X-Men logo. So I think that's pretty cool. What about Moderns? Robert Kirkman's SIGs can rise pretty well. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I'm Adolphus here. Whatever you want to get signed, I think is great. You know, I don't really do many signatures, and I'm not really buying or reading a whole lot of new books. So I just kind of draw the line somewhere for me, you know. But James says he's going to meet was it George Perez and Mark Wolfman next month. Very cool. I actually have a Mark Wolfman signature somewhere. I bought a book. I think it was Eternals 1 that he actually signed. And there you go. Robert Hamilton is saying Steranko always signs X-Men 50 in green. I think it's complimentary. You can tell the dude is an artist, because if you get a signature, that signature, in my opinion, should complement the book. And I think like J. Scott Campbell does that well. He picks, when he draws his covers, I think he thinks about signing those books, because he always has like a good place for the signature to go, and his very loopy signature. And then he always signs in a complementary color that adds to the cover, which I think is really, really cool. Someone is saying, can you have a show about top comic book artists? Like the best Spawn book. Yeah, I need to think about that. My buddy Whitewell Comics is an artist. He went to art school. He has an artistic mind, and he has a artist spotlight series that I think is fantastic. He goes into so much detail about some artists, things that I don't even understand, but it is there are things that I can cover, and there's things that I think other people can cover really, really well. And Whitewell is one of those guys that does an artist spotlight so incredibly well that anything I do would pale in comparison to that. So if you haven't checked out Whitewell, I would definitely say check that out. I would struggle with this because I think I have like 4 Spawn books. Can't Get Enough says, do you ever capitalize on inflating books? I don't sell books that often. I honestly don't sell books that often. So no, I don't really capitalize on books that are going up in value because of hype or speculation. People are always like, hey, can we get your eBay? Bro, I don't even have anything on eBay. So I don't sell that often. So no, I don't. And I don't frown upon those people that make money from eBay. I don't frown upon those people that flip books, that buy books and encapsulate books and turn around and sell those books and buy different books. I have nothing against those people, nothing against them. As long as people are doing it honestly, there is a demand and there is a supply. And if both sides are happy with what they're doing, magic happens. And I have no problem with that. Nathan says he just found a Spawn 1 signed in a $1 bin. Bro, you cannot complain about that at all. Hey, check it out. I'll double your money right now. Send me the book. I'll send you $2. We'll double it. Steranko quit comics to become a true artist. I did not know that. He just seems like a very eccentric guy, and I've never heard anything bad about him. Just when you look at him, he just looks like eccentric. Cap 11 is the white cover with Cap holding his shield. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Ever get that sketch? No, I didn't. Daniel, I didn't get that sketch. You know why? That sketch was $1,000, bro. Sketch was $1,000. That was the starting price. The next level up was $4,000. There weren't enough super chats to go around. I was actually taking a nap when Jim Lee was signing, because when I was at WonderCon, because I was tired and I went to sleep and I woke up and I was like, oh, Jim Lee signing. Oh, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee and some food, and then I'm gonna go back to the con. That was how it happened. Let me scroll down. Have you read Uncanny X-Force? I don't think so. I don't think that I read that. I read the early X-Force stuff, but not the Uncanny X-Force. I did. Chris Bigger is asking whether I watched Black Lightning. I probably watched the first 5 or 6 episodes, and it was actually pretty good. And I actually then regretted selling my copy of Black Lightning #1 and #2 because I sold those right before the show premiered. And I made a little money off them because I think I've had them in my collection since I was a kid. Like they were always in the back of my bin. But I ended up selling those and kind of regret it. Uh, the Tube family. Oh, how you guys doing? Hulk 181, 9.8 or 39.6? 39.6, please. I will take them. I will send you my address and you can just mail all 3 of those to me right now. Because, and here's the reason why. And this is an exaggeration. You're going to have more buyers at 9.6 and you're going to have a more significant return on your investment on a 9.6 than you will get on a 9.8. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about 1 for 1 or if you're talking about all of them combined, your return on investment will be more significant with the 9.6, and because you're going to spend less to get it. And then there will be more buyers at a 9.6 versus at a 9.8, where you're going to have to pay more to get it. And you're going to have to wait for that one guy or gal that can actually afford that book. DS Comics says flipping is essential to raising funds for the personal collection. If you are on a budget, you, sir, are correct. And that is exactly how I'm actually going to get my AF-15. Fingers crossed, through the process of buying books, undervalued, slabbing them, and selling them. But DS Comics is a specialist in that. He does a lot of modern books that he buys, he slabs them, he sells them, and he goes out and buys the books that he really want, and nobody gets hurt in the process. And again, he's one of those guys that does it the right way. Got to raise those funds for the brother. Why do you think I came out with that patron program? We're trying to raise money for sketches over here. Oh man, have I seen Shazam? I have not seen Shazam. I have 2 young children, so we rarely get to movies. I may be going to see the live action of Paw Patrol. I may be seeing the live action of Paw Patrol later this month, and after that, if that goes well, I may see Dumbo. That is what I'll be seeing. Pretty Fly Filipino guy. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Any signing regrets? Love your shows. Gets him through work. You are very welcome, my friend, and I will absolutely keep it up. Any signing regrets? I don't know, not really. So I would say I bought a book that had possibly the worst signature ever. And it was a Stan Lee, my Hulk 181. And he signed, and he didn't sign it for me. I bought it this way, but he signed in black on the Hulk's chest. And his signature is basically all mushed together, and it's black on basically a green and black chest. It just doesn't look good. And I was literally getting on a plane, and I knew I wanted to buy Hulk 181. I had missed one earlier that day, and I was getting ready to board a plane. I met a guy on Instagram that was like, hey, I've got it. I'll sell it to you for this price. I looked at the photo on my phone and was like, sold. I bought the book. It showed up, and I was like, that's the worst signature ever. But at least I have a Stan Lee signature. And this was months before he passed away. This is months before I had an opportunity to meet him. Not the best book, not the best signature, but I'm glad that I bought it because I now have 2 Hulk 181. So I can't regret it too much. Outside of that, I haven't obtained a signature from anyone since I was a child, besides Stan, Ramita, and then the ASM 300 that I have signed back there. So C plus E2 says good night. Don't knock a brother. The Paw Patrol is the bomb, bro. For real. I watched the Paw Patrol TV shows, and my boy has every Paw Patrol imaginable. The towers, the small towers, he has it all. So I'm definitely a fan. So Tommy says, would I ever consider Golden Age books? Yes. But in time. Right. My focus is where my focus is right now. And once I achieve that goal and those goals, then I will set new goals for myself, because I actually I'm going to be honest with you. Schomburg, his Human Torch books, his Submariner work, fantastic. Fantastic. The way he draws or paints or whatever he does with those early Human Torch Submariner books, I absolutely love. And at some point, I will buy those books. But what I don't want to do is to dilute my focus from where it is now to go chase that, because that's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? And what's great about it is that those things will be there. Maybe they'll be more expensive, but everything will be more expensive, right? But yeah, I think there are some golden age books that are fantastic. I just can't go that way right now. What art books would you get signed by Story? I don't know anything about art books, brother. I know zero about art books. Honestly, I can't even begin to answer that question. Um, spare your children a headache. What headache is that? What Marvel DC book within the last 10 years is worth getting and why? There are so many, bro, to be honest with you. You can't go wrong with ASM 1, X-Men, Giant Size X-Men. You can't go wrong with those books. You can't go wrong with Hulk 181. I think that book will continue to rise in value. You can't go wrong with AF-15, just like Marvel books. Generally speaking, if there is a well-established DC and Marvel key that has historically retained its value, I don't know that you can go wrong. Modern books, risky. Books that have established characters, established fan base, I don't think you can go wrong with those books, because in fact, if you go back and you look at one of the videos that I did, it's called like Blue Chip Comics or something like that. We looked at 40 years of blue chip comics, both DC and Marvel, and those books year upon year, decade upon decade, increased in value. You can't go wrong. Modern books, a little risky. Maybe you'll score, maybe you won't. A blue chip Marvel or DC book, I don't think that you can go wrong with. And this, I'm talking about well-established books. You can't go wrong with classic books, classic characters, classic creators. You can't go wrong, in my opinion. And if you enjoy it on top of that, then you really can't go wrong. All right, so Chris Bigger is out of here. He says he's got to cut out. Spare your kids from the pain that is done. Oh, okay. Fair enough, Robert. My boy is 4, and we think that he now has the attention span to sit still. So we're gonna go to Paw Patrol. We actually bought those tickets probably 3 months ago, so we're gonna go to that. And both my kids absolutely love the Paw Patrol, as do my wife and I, because we watch it all the time. You know, Dark Hawk #1. I think I have 3 of them. Do you ever think you'll buy a statue, bro? So here's the thing: in that corner. So in this corner over here, you actually see a lithograph of Savage Dragon that someone gave me. I think that thing is awesome. And I honestly, off the top of my head, can't remember who actually gave it to me, but I definitely appreciate it. And then you've got Savage Dragon #1 sitting right here. This corner over here is reserved for a statue. And I don't know. I was looking at the I think it's the XM Scorpion statue, which I think is fantastic. It would look good right there. Or the Wolverine versus X-Men, basically the recreation of Hulk 181, would look awesome over there. Those statues are very expensive. And when I look at the cost of a statue and I look at the cost of like a key comic, it's not an easy art. It's not a hard decision for me. But at some point, I am going to get a statue over in that corner. And that was a question for my buddy. Can't get enough. At some point, that will actually go over there. So all Golden Age isn't expensive. It depends on what you're getting. I would probably agree with that. And I don't know a ton about statues. I'm sorry, about Golden Age. But some Golden Age, I was actually like, it's $500? Really? I thought all Golden Age was expensive. And I don't think that is true. Daniel says he has to go to bed. It is good to see you, brother. Thank you for hanging out with us just a little bit. So I'll answer a couple more questions and then I'm going to get myself out of here. So Shy So has a monthly. I don't do monthly payments, bro. I don't buy comics on credit. I have a PayPal credit account, but I haven't even used it, to be honest with you. I have it just in case I come across something and don't have the cash that moment. I try not to do that kind of stuff. And again, this is not judgment being passed on anyone that does it. For me, I choose not to do it. I choose not to do it. Dakeman, I think that's how you say it, Dakeman. Thank you, brother, for hanging out. Bub Collects, it's good to see you, brother. Thank you for hanging out for just a little bit. So, all right, so maybe we'll take one or two more questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves out of here. I'm gonna go in here and watch whatchamacallit, 600-pound life. Which is a bigger key, ASM 3 or ASM 14? That's a tough one. I think ASM 14 is definitely a classic, right? Um, I dig 14. I would probably stick with 14. I would probably say that. Who makes your ideals? I don't know. The Sinister Six, bro. I think it's changed so many times. I can't remember all the characters, to be honest with you. I can't be. I gotta be honest with you. I would need to think about that one. Actually, write those jokers down. Teen Titans 44. I've got that someplace. Custom Spider-Man doppelganger statue ordered from Gem Mint Collectibles. Gotta love some Gem Mint, bro. I'm gonna tell you, I used to watch Gem Mint every single morning while having breakfast, probably for like a year before I even made my first video. And I still haven't bought a statue. But the dude can do a good video, man. I gotta tell you, he does a good video. Choose to make again. Yeah, tell me, who do you think? When is the next? Oh, so the next CGC. I actually reached out to these guys probably 3 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer, but they have back-to-back cons. And so we weren't able to schedule anything. I think we're going to do the next one. The middle of this month is when the next one will be. I gave them a topic and they thought the topic was a fantastic idea. So not this week, probably next week, we're actually going to do that one. And I think the topic is pretty cool. So let me check with these guys this week and see if we can get that thing scheduled. And as you know, if it does get scheduled, it'll be announced on the Sunday show. So more to come on that. But I definitely want to get these guys back on. Hey, Tina, thank you for stopping by. I'm definitely going to get these guys back on because they drop some knowledge when they come on the show, and we also have a really good time. So this has gone on. Oh my God, my wife's going to kill me. All right. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me this Sunday and spending just a little bit of time with me. Again, if you were the winner of last week's Detective Comics 880, you definitely want to send me an email and let me know who you are and what your contact information is so I can get this book out to you. And then if you are the winner, I think this week's winner was Tony. Tony, if you are watching this, brother, make sure you send me an email to regiecollects@gmail.com so I can get these two books out to you. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. I absolutely appreciate it. If you guys need me, you know where to find me. Regie Collects on Gmail and Regie Collects on Instagram. I am always around, and stay tuned because we have some awesome content that is going to be dropping all this week. And we're going to have trivia night, and we're also going to look at some awesome Schomburg covers on Wednesday at 7:30. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thank you guys and take care.